Betting on sports can be hard, but hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/bestbets or dial #law, #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/bestbets. This is a paid advertisement.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Merry Christmas Eve. It is Follow the Money. Love the snow. On the screen. Mitch Moss, Mike Paulman for Paulie Howard as we're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here with you. I got to be with Paul on Friday and Monday, so that's more of a lift. But
they gave me a couple of days off to take the little fella up to the Bay Area and meet the family on that side.
Lorraine's family.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that'll be good for him. When we took him back to Wisconsin for Thanksgiving, it went better than I could have ever envisioned.
You didn't go to the Packers game, right?
We did. It was impossible to pull off. There's no way. He was 6 months, I think. I just could not have done it.
Too loud.
Oh, yeah. It was, and that's 3 hours away. They did the math on this because my family members had been to the Lambeau in recent years, and they're like, it's going to take you 2 hours to get out of Green Bay after the game. You're going to get back like at 3 o'clock. I'm like, there's no way. We're coming back on Saturday, come pull it off. And by the way, it was a boring game, so thank God we didn't.
Who did they play?
Miami.
Oh, yeah.
That was
the Thanksgiving game.
That was a Thanksgiving night game. How will Handle be tomorrow on the Christmas Day games?
I think it'll be good. Like I said, there's a lot of Survivor folks with this wide open slate, 45 entries left that have plenty of funds available to monetize. I don't like to say hedge. I like to say monetize their position with their tickets that are still remaining. Think about this. When the dust settles on Monday night or Sunday, this weekend, you got one pick left. We're down to 1 week to go 20-0, but you got to get through tomorrow and then the Saturday, Sunday, Monday slate.
What do you think of the idea of playing Survivor out even after you were eliminated?
People will say, well, why do you want to punish yourself? Some people are doing it by making money, rolling a money line bet on their teams. I know people that lost, and so they started with $10,000 and just made a money line bet and then rolled it.
And they're still going.
Yeah, they're still going.
Yeah, I ponder that idea. Mm-hmm. We'd still be alive. I don't know if I told you that or not. If we didn't use the Giants over in Germany against Carolina.
And who would you have here for
Baltimore?
Oh God. And then where would you go Sunday? Have you thought that now?
No, I haven't even. No,
okay.
No.
Well, you were sitting in the best spot with Baltimore.
It was Green Bay last night. That would have been our pick into Baltimore on Christmas Day.
21 had Green Bay last night. And how about a no sweat?
No kidding.
No sweat.
Oh, wow, this late in the year like that? All right, so tomorrow's, you guys, limit bets on the Christmas Day games? Is it 200,000 on the app here?
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll take some of those.
Yeah, and if you want more, you just get a hold of Jeff Benson.
There you go.
Chris Bennett.
That's all you got to do. So the Chiefs are favored by 2.5. This game's been kind of all over the map, right? Because, and Christmas Day games were posted at some books, throughout the entire year. The Chiefs were like 5 way earlier in the season. This was before Russell Wilson, I think, was ready to come back, and the Chiefs were winning all those games. And then when it didn't look so hot, it turned in, I think, at some spots when the Mahomes injury happened, Steelers were like 2.
I saw 2.5.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay. Now it's flipped. Chiefs favored again. Do you have an opinion on this game at all?
I mean, the Chiefs, they win, they can lock up, and then they can rest in the final week of the year. So Pittsburgh is kind of stuttering down the stretch here a little bit. Maybe they played above their skis for a while. I don't want to lay a field goal with the road team here. Yeah. They do have to remember that, and Mahomes says he hates this. He hates playing on Christmas Day. What they did last year against the Raiders.
Oh, that's right.
Let's not forget that. That took a lot of people out of Survivor.
That's spot on, and that was a dud of a ball game from them.
Raiders didn't complete a pass beyond the first quarter. They had those two consecutive defensive scores and held on.
And that's what they did to win the game.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do. All right, so I will give you a G-Bank best bet of the day in the game. The Chiefs' defense are 18th in DVOA versus tight ends, and they allow 71.2 yards per game to the position. That's the second most behind Cincinnati. Tight ends versus KC this year, I could go on for 20 minutes. I won't, but here are some of the numbers. Last week, Dalton Schultz, 5 for 45 and 1 touchdown. A couple of weeks ago, Stone Smart came in to the injured Will Dissly, had 3 for 54. Brock Bowers on Black Friday, 10 for 140 and a touchdown. Somebody named Jadavion Sanders had 3 for 49 for Carolina. Cade Otton had 8 for 77 and a touchdown. Kittle, Gesicki, Likely all had big games against this KC defense. So what we're going to do is go Pat Freiermuth over 28.5 yards. I laid 20 cents with that, and that is the G-Bank best bet of the day, brought to you here on VSiN, the official bank of the Vegas Stats and Information Network. If you're serious about sports betting, you need the G-Bank Visa Signature Card. Most credit cards treat sportsbook and gaming transactions as cash advances, even when you put your own money on the card. G-Bank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're typically saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advances and their fees right there. Right now, for a limited time, you're going to receive a $250 bonus after you spend $1,000 in the first 90 days. Apply now at vsin.com/gbank. That's vsin.com/gbank. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions apply. So I really like that bet, and we got a great email from Peter earlier today suggesting that Freiermuth is a good bet on his longest reception in the game, and that's at 14.5. As I'll get some of the numbers here for you on this. Again, as I talked about, they allow the second most yards in the entire position. They give up 6.2 catches per game, third overall in the league. And if you run down the whole list again, on a game-by-game basis, several tight ends flew over 14.5 yards, and that's Freiermuth's longest reception prop for tomorrow.
I was looking at your list of the performances against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
How good is this Brock Bowers?
Oh,
he was playing on a team that was relevant. He's having one of the greatest seasons for a rookie. And they just go to him, and he's their option. And they just keep throwing to him, and he keeps catching the ball every game.
And for the most part, defenses have not been able to slow it down. He's putting up the best season ever by a tight end. So overall, how much do they need? How much help do the Raiders need to be a factor or to turn this thing around?
Well, they went into the year without a quarterback, Mitch. How can you go into the year and not have a quarterback?
I don't know.
But not even have a plan of a quarterback.
And they gave Minshew, $25 million over 2 years? Mike, come on. That's absurd. Do you think Aiden O'Connell can play at all?
I watched him play 4 years at Purdue. I can't believe he got drafted.
Okay.
That's your answer. I watch a lot of Big Ten football.
I know.
I watched him play at Purdue. I don't understand it. I don't understand. Ritter's a loser. Sean King, when he was still at the network, made a really good point. In the second or third, maybe it's the third game of the year Indiana made the playoffs, where I had them at 14-1 to make the playoffs. I thought they just had to beat Notre Dame that year to make them. They did, and they got beat by Alabama. But the third game of the year, they were down 14 to Indiana in the third game of the year at Indiana, and he threw a pick six to go down 21, but there was a defensive holding call. Look at this guy's body language. His body language is horrific.
Agreed.
When things aren't going well. It is really, really bad. It's like Kyler Murray gets that way at times. This guy's all the time like that. So O'Connell, yes, is an upgrade over Ritter, but it's not somebody that's going to get you anywhere close to the playoffs.
Do you think Cam Ward is that guy?
I don't know. I can't get over the game he played for Washington State against UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, because
they rolled, they beat everybody, they covered every number. He might have had the worst game of a Division I quarterback in the history of football in that game.
I can't imagine he's going to be a top 5 pick, but people love him.
It's a little heavy to me too.
Shedeur Sanders?
Got a strong arm. He's got plenty of pedigree. He's going to get I think if he remains humble and hungry, I think the kid has talent.
I think the talent really oozed out of him this year.
Yep.
I changed my opinion on him.
Yeah.
I think the guy can be really good, but here's the problem. The Raiders won. And now they're going to be, as of right now, they're picking 6th. So there's Sanders is not going to be there. I think according to mock drafts right now, Ward's going to be gone. Who knows how it plays out, but then what? Are they going to reach at number 6 for who? They can't go quarterback. There's not going to be another one on the board to take at that time. Tell me this is going to be the team that signs Sam Darnold.
Well, it could be.
Oh,
it very well could be, depending on the price.
Here's the thing. Would you trust Sam Darnold
without Kevin O'Connell
and going to this organization?
Yeah. He's got a really good situation there in Minnesota in terms of he's got a top third line, offensive line, and then the weapons are really good, and then the play caller is really good, and your head coach who is the play caller is really good and supportive.
If the Vikings could do this, they should sign O'Connell and Flores to 10-year deals. Make it too sweet of a deal for Flores to want to go anywhere else.
Would Flores do that? Would he?
No, he wouldn't. But I'm saying in a perfect world, they would, because I think Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores is the perfect.
You have two head coaches.
That's exactly right. I think it's the perfect head coach slash play caller and defensive coordinator combination in the league.
Flores hides that secondary. That secondary is not good. I'm sorry. He hides that secondary with his schemes and his blitzes.
No, that's
he really does.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
So, I just don't think I don't think he'll get another shot to coach because of the lawsuit.
Okay,
I think this.
He might not.
When they want to blackball somebody, they do it.
Oh, they do.
Look at Vic. I mean, if they want to, Jackson. If they want to take a stand, they do it. These owners will do it.
Sure.
And the poor guy won't get a shot. But who knows?
Do you like anything in the Baltimore game? It's 5.5 now.
Yeah, I liked it when it was 3. But Dell makes a big difference for that team. He's a really talented receiver, and so his injury, and look, Stroud has not been as good as he was last year. So, and they're sort of locked in. What do they have?
I know. I would say that somehow if they could, they're not going to find it, but if they could find the offense from last year to go along with the defense they have right now, they could win the whole thing. But the offense has just been completely unreliable. The play calling against Slowick after 1 year, I don't know if it's teams adjusted to that. He's calling too many run plays early on. I'm disappointed in that team.
He never
this
broke
year.
that tendency. He had the highest tendency of run pass
right.
on the 3 downs last year, and he hasn't gotten away from it.
No. We will discuss the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs and other bowls up next. They are 23-13 ATS in road neutral games since 2020, but it could be negated in this matchup.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino here on Christmas Eve. Mitch Moss, along with Mike Palm, he's in today, doing a tremendous job for Paulie Howard, out today and tomorrow. Can you say now what you said earlier about the handle that you guys had on the college football games, the first round of the playoffs?
So I thought it would be interesting on Saturday with the 3 playoff games and the 2 good NFL games, whether we could do the same amount of right on a normal college football Saturday where you've got, 70 games or whatever you're going to book. We almost doubled it.
That's incredible.
I didn't go back and check. I guess I could ask Jeff Benson to run the numbers, but I think it was the highest right day that we've had. And it's a combination. We had some big players in as well, but the highest right day we had outside of a Super Bowl or a first 2 days of March Madness.
You guys see a lot of sharp money here.
We do.
But that was not a good weekend. Well, let me rephrase. It was a really good weekend for the public by blindly betting favorites, right? Tied into the NFL games, by the way.
Yeah.
So how'd you guys do based on that?
We lost on Saturday. We had a really good Sunday.
Okay.
Lost a very, very good Sunday. With the highest right, it's hard to lose when you write that much. But, the favorites getting there, when they all get there, you need one big upset somewhere else.
It was a no-sweat 6-teamer. If you started Friday night and went all the way through the end of Saturday and just played those 6 games, the 4 first-round playoff games and the 2 NFL games.
Very little sweat.
Very little. Clemson, Texas?
Yeah, at the end, they kept coming back.
Okay.
Notre Dame was never a sweat.
No.
Penn State was over with the interceptions.
Right away with the INTs.
And Ohio State was the biggest blowout of the weekend.
Yeah. Can they win the whole thing?
Well, they're certainly talented enough. Remember, before the year, we tell you, is this one of the greatest college football teams of all time? They were like plus 220 to win the national championship.
Yeah.
They were still the favorite here at Circa. They still had the lowest odds before they lost to Michigan. Shorter than Georgia or shorter than Georgia or Oregon. They were still the favorite. Because everybody said they lost at Oregon in a game on a last possession, and on a neutral they'd beat them in the Big Ten title game, and they'd get.
I'm not surprised for a second they're favored.
I figured they'd be favored.
Oh, yeah, they were favored at Eugene. So Steve Mackinnon, VSiN.com, all these numbers are available like every day, every week, every sport. You can go check it out for yourself. But Steve Makinen's power ratings, he has Oregon -0.5 on a neutral against Ohio State. Some other games here. He makes Penn State 11.5 against Boise. You think that's a touch high?
I do. I make the game 8.
8?
Mm-hmm. But we opened at 10 and it's been bet up.
Are you going to wait, or have you bet Boise already?
I would wait. Well, why not keep waiting?
Might as well. Mm-hmm. Makinen makes Notre Dame 1 against Georgia.
Really tough because of the backup quarter. Let's remember this. Notre Dame has played Georgia 3 times in recent years. They've all been one-score games. They've all been very competitive games.
Good point.
With Georgia.
Yeah.
So I think Notre Dame knows who they are, and if they don't turn the ball over, they'll be a tough out. The funny thing about that SEC championship game was when Georgia had their quarterback in the first half, they couldn't run the ball. Suddenly they put the backup in, and they were able to run the ball on Texas. It's very, very strange.
Yep. So I'll throw this at you to pay off the tees. Georgia is 23-13. That's 64% ATS in road neutral games since 2020. Does that mean anything to you at all? I said before the break, it's negated probably because of the backup quarterback.
I would say that because of the backup quarterback, but I was saying this when watching Georgia play this year because they're definitely not the talent. I thought they were obviously one of the best 4 teams last year too. They just got left out of the playoff. I don't know that they're one of the best 4 teams, although it's very wide open this year. I don't think they're as good as they were last year, but I liken them to the Chiefs in that they have this championship DNA and they find ways to win games.
I don't hate that.
Right?
No, I think that's pretty close. Yeah. I would love to see Notre Dame beat them. No anti-SEC stuff for me here on this. I have a Notre Dame ticket.
You do.
But besides that, I'd want to see them anyway because I think it's juicier if Notre Dame advances, to be honest.
Well, look where they put him. They put him in the Saturday night block, whatever. They're going to put him in the best ratings block that you can put him because they're going to get the ratings because they're a national program.
No doubt.
If it's close, though, I also worry about, the coaching matchup, and Kirby's awfully good in situational football. When Notre Dame hasn't been there, and when they've been there, they haven't been close. And so there's a lot of pressure if it gets down to that. But I do think they lost that game to Northern Illinois. And since they've lost that game, they have dominated everybody.
Crushed almost every opponent. Mm-hmm. By the way, Makinen makes Texas 8 against Arizona State.
I was surprised when I looked at the numbers there that there's that much of a variance on this. Maybe we sleep on Arizona State. I didn't watch them play that often this year, to be honest with you.
So they're exciting.
I did watch them play in that game where they couldn't make a kick and lost at Cincinnati, and maybe that clouds my opinion. But
did you watch the Big 12 game against your boy Matt Campbell?
First of all, Mitch, you couldn't have a better first drive than Iowa State had. They were pulling their tackles. They were blowing them off the ball, using play action. Right? They go up 7-3. Arizona State scores. It's 10-7. Then Iowa State goes right down to the red zone again. End up kicking a field goal, and all of a sudden they became just a drop-back passing team. I don't get it. Did they force them into it? I didn't see them stuffing the run. They were running the ball effectively. And then in the second half, there was no fight at all. It was ridiculous.
It looked like they tapped out.
They tapped out right after halftime.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's your guy.
Not good.
Attention horse racing fans, get ready to play the ponies with our friends at First Bet on opening day at Santa Anita Park, happening this Thursday, December 26th. Santa Anita is California's premier horse racing venue, and Thursday's action features the Grade 1 Malibu Stakes. That, by the way, is starring Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan. Here's what you got to do. Sign up today at firstbet.com. Use the promo code VSiN200 to score a 20% rebate on your bets for the first 60 days, up to $200. And here's a special offer for this week only. New customers get up to $25 back if you bet Mike Somich's Santa Anita opening day best bet and it doesn't win. How cool is that? Don't miss out on all the excitement. Visit firstbet.com and sign up now. And I'll tell you, Mike, Somich is damn good with the ponies.
I'd like to get a refund. About 6 weeks ago, I was on Stormy's show, but it was on a Friday when she was off covering football. So it was Patrick and Mike Somich, both remotely. And here I was in the studio for 2 segments. And they're betting horses. Patrick likes to bet horses. Yep. And here comes, it's the 4th race at Aqueduct. Bet this one horse. Come on. So I blindly went on the app and bet the horse. It runs out. And then I got to see on the tweet, the Sama Bombers hit every pick 3. They hit a pick 4. They hit a pick 5. I said, I want a refund. You gave me a stiff horse. You won every race in the day. You won every pick 3. That's a nice deal. No,
yeah, it's a really
he's
good
very
deal.
good. He's good.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of that. So here on Christmas Eve, you have church coming up in about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Will you and the family bust out? Is there a tradition here to do like a holiday movie at all?
Well, not necessarily on Christmas Eve. But during this course of the lead up, the kids love the Grinch, the animated version of the Grinch. They watch that every year. So I don't know. We're going to my wife's friend's parents' house, who her dad works at the D, by the way. He works in the Keno department at the D. So I don't know. The kids will probably want to watch a movie, right? They do that at these gatherings. So I know you asked for underrated Christmas movie.
Yeah.
You had one in mind.
I have one in mind. I have a couple in mind, actually. But rather than like the obvious ones, It's a Wonderful Life.
Well, no, but they're not underrated because
Christmas
they're ranked
Vacation.
very high.
Right, yeah. A Christmas Story. Right?
Christmas Vacation.
Come on. It's Paul Charchian's worst take of all time. He hates the movie.
What?
It makes no sense. I don't understand it. Anyway, here's one under the radar. It's called The Family Stone.
Oh, stop. That's mine.
BS.
2005. Craig T. Nelson and
Oh,
Diane
absolutely.
Keaton.
Yes.
That's my... I just wrote it down with your pen. The
You're
Family
kidding.
Stone.
Rachel McAdams, Dermot Mulroney.
Claire Danes.
Claire Danes. Luke Wilson.
Yep.
I watch it almost every single year.
Sarah Jessica Parker plays the stuck-up girl. That's
Absolutely,
the key into the
yes.
whole story.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It's Dermot
Mulroney.
He wants to introduce her to the
Yep.
family, and it's total chaos. I would call the movie, first of all, the cast is outstanding, as you just heard. I think it's funny. I think it's relatable. And then it turns a little sad.
It does.
Yeah, but it's a great holiday or Christmas movie, in my opinion.
I bet you the listeners out there who've watched it would agree with that. How could you not like that film?
I've seen it multiple times now. I never knew it was good until my wife told me about it after we first met. We watched it. I was like, damn, that's a good call on your part.
I was going to ask you, could we possibly have the same movie?
How about that?
That's...
Wow.
Yeah.
Scrooged with Bill Murray. Very good, in my opinion. And this will be an unpopular take on my part. I have never made it through Elf with Will Ferrell.
I'm not a Will Ferrell fan.
Oh, you're not?
No.
I've made it 20, maybe 30 minutes, and I've either turned it off or I fell asleep. And I want to like it because I've heard from everybody it's great. But I don't know. Can't do it.
I watched the one with DeVito, like the last half of it, with the lights and all that, and where he's competing with the neighbor, and the neighbor's wife goes nuts and leaves, and all that.
Is that Meet the Parents?
No. I'll come up with it, but that's funny as well. DeVito was really good in that.
DeVito?
Yeah.
Oh, Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying De Niro.
Yeah, Danny DeVito.
Okay. I don't know what that one is.
I'll find it. I watched like the last hour 40 of it. I just missed the first.
All right. You can tweet us, by the way, here on Christmas Eve, at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Mike Palm Circa for underrated holiday movies. You know what? It's a busy NBA card tomorrow. A lot of bets to be made, potentially. Jonathan Von Tobel joins us next to break it down.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome in. Merry Christmas. We are live here, downtown Las Vegas, from the Circa Resort and Casino. Yes, I have my Dunder Mifflin Christmas sweater on today. It's warm. It's cozy. I wish I could wear this other days of the year, actually, because I like wearing it a lot. Mike Palma's in. There's no Paulie today for Christmas Eve. Jonathan Von Tobel joins us set now. How are you, pal?
Good. Christmas Eve, my favorite holiday. So tried to go with like a little cranberry theme, you know what I mean, to celebrate the festivities. So very fired up.
So we just talked about underrated holiday movies for a minute. We each threw out The Family Stone.
Mm-hmm.
I find it tough because you're in a different generation than us. So the stuff that we watch when we were younger, you either hate or you've never watched it before in your entire life. Is there something that you think is underrated for the holiday season?
I just see that's interesting because I don't think it's underrated for my generation, but my Christmas go-to every year is Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's
Sinbad.
not bad. That's pretty good.
And I think it came out before I was born, but when I grew up, I got very fond of A Christmas Story. Very much enjoy that one.
Does it hold up? I haven't watched it in 25 years, probably.
The writing is good.
Yeah,
the writing of the story is very good.
Some of the jokes are probably not the best at this point. But the whole story, it holds up. It's
Hold
great.
on.
You shoot your eye out.
Could they make Christmas Story today if they wanted to? With the same exact jokes?
I think, probably not the exact same jokes.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But it's a classic. Like when his little brother gets his tongue stuck on the pole and they leave him outside. Like, it's great.
Here's what I find almost funny. So again, you've never watched Seinfeld before.
Yeah, one episode.
But you've watched The Office before.
Oh, the whole thing, yes.
And Paulie has never watched an episode in his life.
Of The Office?
Of The Office, the American version.
Why wouldn't he at least try it?
I've begged him because of anybody I've ever met my entire life who would love Michael Scott, it's Paul Howard.
You mean like Paul Howard 2.0?
Yes, the same. They're kind of the same person. And yet he won't even think about it. And he watches every TV show in the world.
I think it's one of those where you just got to sit him down and force him to do it. But I will say, because I've told the story before, what you can't do, I've said that a bunch of times, I've only seen one episode of Seinfeld. Do you know what episode that is?
The Chinese restaurant.
Mitch should know. He made me watch it.
Well, there's...
You made me watch it at your house. It was the one where what's his face is stealing the lobster traps. And
oh, my God, the Hamptons.
Yes. But the problem is...
It's an epic episode.
So the problem, though, Mike, is it was a great episode. I enjoyed it very much. But what Mitch was doing was this. The whole time.
Looking at you.
Looking at me to make sure I'm laughing, to make sure I'm enjoying it. And I'm just like, yes, it's great.
That's a lie. I don't recall that happening. No.
So, it was funny. I've enjoyed Curb Your Enthusiasm more the times I've watched it.
Well, that's phenomenal. Yes.
It's a very good show.
I went back and started watching it from season 1.
I got to start from the beginning because I like those shows. Like, actually, one of my favorite comedies is Arrested Development. Like those
it's tremendous.
I think it's the best comedy show. The first 3 seasons, it's great. So I enjoy that type of humor. So I think I would very much enjoy those shows. Yeah. I just got to find the gumption to go and start at the beginning and keep it going.
You went back to episode 1, season 1 on Curb.
I forgot how funny it was.
I got to do the same thing.
The ridiculous circumstances that he's able to create.
Yes.
Did you watch it all the way through again?
I went and I watched 3 seasons. I took a break. I'm like in 4 now.
Okay.
Because you keep going. You burn yourself out. You say, I can't take it anymore.
That's true.
I'm watching a show now that I never watched. It's not a show that far back called Bull. Do you know the show Bull?
No.
That was on CBS?
Is that a legal one?
Yeah, it's a legal one. Not too bad.
Okay.
It's a little formulaic, but it's not too bad.
I see that they're bringing Suits to L.A. now in February.
Really?
The show was like in 2009 on USA that took off during the pandemic and got super popular on Netflix. And
any of the same actors?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think at least the main guy, Harvey Specter, who's fantastic. Yeah,
that guy's like so not Harvey Specter in his real life. Have you ever
I've done a
listened to
little
him?
Yes, yeah.
He's like nothing like Harvey Specter
Isn't
at
that
all.
crazy?
And this has been one of the best NBA segments I've ever been a part of.
I don't mind.
I have to tell you.
It's Christmas Eve.
Let's start here. How will handle be tomorrow on the NBA games? Non-existent?
No, not true, because people are betting on their app. There are not going to be a lot of people here, but it would be dwarfed by the NFL games because of the survivor implications, obviously. And then also people, there's been some movement in these games. Already people have positions.
So one of those games that moved, the under on the Spurs-Knicks opposite me, I bet over 225.5 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I added more today at 223.5. I think the people are looking at the Knicks' recent improvements on defense, but I would also throw back in their face the Spurs last couple of weeks have not been great on that side of the ball.
Yep.
And the Knicks are still elite offensively. Do you agree with this move down from where it was to now sitting at 223.5?
I mean, I think a little bit. I kind of find myself in your camp, though, a little bit more, because here's the thing, too. With Wembanyama out there, teams, we know what they do. They don't want to get to the rim, right? They can't get to the rim. So what teams tend to do is they shoot a lot more threes. Opponents' three-point percentage in terms of frequency improves by about like 5%. And I mean, not in terms of accuracy, but how many shots they take. So opponents tend to shoot more threes when Wemby's on the floor. And here you have the 4th best shooting team by percentage in the NBA in the New York Knicks that I think you're probably going to have some success here offensively. I would agree with you. I think if those shots are going down at home for New York, you're probably going to start to get this thing go over the total, especially now that we're hitting that low point. You'll get the buyback, too, eventually.
The best thing I enjoyed about the NBA was the Josh Hart exchange about his tweet about the Spurs suck. And then they said, and then they asked him about it. You stand by that? He goes, I was talking about Tottenham. They're awful. Did you see all the goals they gave him to Liverpool?
6-3.
It was good. It was a really
good one.
Tell me about the Lakers team.
I mean,
they blow a game last night at home to Detroit. I mean, is this team to be taken seriously?
No.
They're playing. They're at Golden State, catching 3.5 tomorrow.
So I did bet this under 224.5.
Okay.
So I did bet the game under. These have been 2 pretty good under teams. I think recent form right now. Let's see, Lakers 3-11 to the over. So what? 11-3 to the under last 14. Warriors 13-3 to the under last 16. 2 decent defensive teams. Warriors are actually pretty elite defensively. They're not good on either side. Mike, the problem with LA, as we have seen now for the last 3 years, they keep running back a play-in team. That's like, wow, I'm shocked this team that's finished inside the bottom 4 every single year just can't get out of the bottom 4, right? And so now you have a team that is constantly relying on an aging LeBron James. It's just a pretty mediocre team at best. So I don't think they're a team to be taken seriously in the grand scheme of a championship. You know?
I'm going to ask you about another team that's probably going to be in the play-in, and that's the T-Wolves.
Yeah.
Who wanted to make this Ant-Man's team, and they did it, and now everybody hates them, including their own fans. They get booed a lot of nights in Minneapolis. They're in Dallas catching 5.5.
Well, and then on Twitter, all the Julius Randle lowlights are already starting to get made and everything like that. They don't like him. So I think there's actually some pretty stark numbers that really describe what's going on with LA or with Minnesota. I think you guys will like this. So just on the surface, offense, 106 points per 100 possessions, non-garbage time. It's abysmal in their last 12 games. They're 23rd for the season. Their isolation rate has gone up. Frequency of isolation possessions this year, 8.6%. Last year was 7.4%. Last year in ISO possessions, they were averaging 0.9 points per possession. This year, it's 0.75. So they're ISOing more frequently. They're a lot less efficient. They're shooting more threes than ever. Last year, 35% of their attempts came from three-point range. This year, 43% of their attempts come from three-point range. So it's a lot of ISO-heavy basketball, chuck it up, and they're shooting a lot less efficiently. And at the center of all of it is Anthony Edwards. Like, he's stopped going to the rim. He's a perimeter-oriented player. So that's all. And by the way, now you get a Dallas team that's 5-1 straight up and against the spread in the last 6 meetings with them. That includes that playoff series and then the one season regular season matchup they played this year. I don't think it's going to be great tomorrow.
My friend who's a pro bettor said the best bet in baseball all year was Judge over a half walk. And then they had to move it to 1.5. And he says so far in basketball, it's Ant-Man over 3 made threes. Yep. Because that's all he does now is shoot threes. To your point.
Yeah, him. And then I think you guys have talked about this. Like Wembanyama all of a sudden, like he won't go to the basket. He's a little slight, so he can't really do it. But his 3-point attempts are skyrocketing, and he's shooting about 35%, but he's averaging like 9 3-point attempts per game.
I'll give you a little tip on that. So last night, Wembanyama was 2.5. It was over minus 150 in that neighborhood. He started 0 for 3 right away in the game. Right? He's chucking. And you know that it's going to keep going that way, right? But he didn't have one. In game, you can bet player props. It was over 2.5 plus 150 that quickly. And he ended up making, 6 last night? Something like that. So something to definitely mark down maybe for moving forward in the NBA. The Nuggets beat the Suns last night, 117-90. They play again tomorrow. Denver's favored here. I'm looking at 2.5 in this game.
Yeah.
And don't the Suns have guys that are going to miss?
Yes. So Devin Booker has been out. He didn't practice today. Neither did Grayson Allen. So that's a little bit of a problem for Phoenix. The thought was maybe Booker could come back for this game. It sounds like that's not going to be the case. You'd want him to practice before. So actually, I bet the $1.30 money line here with Denver.
You did?
Yeah. This was one of the 2 bets that I made. The under in the Warriors-Lakers game, and then this game money line. Because everything you're talking about. And look, the Suns just don't have anybody for Jokic. Nurkic last night, immediately, I think he got 2 fouls in the span of 5 minutes against him. He only ended up playing 14 minutes. Your other center is Mason Plumlee. Good luck with that if you're throwing him at Jokic. I think it's a pretty poor matchup for Phoenix overall, especially if it looks like it's trending toward the direction of Devin Booker not coming back here. So they laid $1.30 on the money line here with Denver.
Okay, very good. I'll throw a couple things at you. You're coming up for the next 4 hours, by the way, after us with Matt Humans.
4 hours, baby.
Mosley, Coach of the Year, yes or no?
I think, that
worth
was
a bet.
Yes. I would say yes.
It was 11-1 like 2 days ago. The best number I could find now is plus 650.
The effort that team gives every single night and what they did yesterday, and they just don't go away despite the injuries. Yes.
How good is this guy?
He's great. Now, the problem is, will they overlook that for Kenny Atkinson, who's done a great job, right? He's like, it's like the Steve Kerr first year at Golden State, right? Same team, you just unlock everything. I think that might be a problem, but I would agree.
How about the Rockets or the Grizzlies to win their division?
I mean, I think both. I'd probably go with the right. I like the Rockets more. I like what they do defensively. I love them. Absolutely love them on that end.
Are they going to be a threat in the West?
I think with the way they defend, absolutely. And look at some of the teams at the bottom. Like, all of a sudden, all these teams are flawed.
I know.
Look at the top 3 outside of OKC. This looks crazy in the West standings.
Hey, buddy, you look good in cranberry.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. That's the color, right?
I can't believe I just said that. In-pocket plays and a special Christmas message from Mike Palm next.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're on.
Yep, for a couple of days here. Loser last night, player prop Nikola Jokic under 30.5 points, laid 20 cents, no good. I think he had 32 points in the third quarter. All right, end of the third quarter. So that was a bad one. Moving on. The pending that we have. Vikings money line against the Packers minus 120. Yeah, Packers taking money this week. I bet the Spurs-Knicks game over twice. A couple of weeks ago, 225.5, when the Knicks were playing no defense and the offense was the best in the NBA. And the Spurs were playing in some super high-scoring games as well. Now, recent times, the Knicks are playing better defense, as we just chatted about with JVT. But the Spurs numbers are not great. In like the same stretch, came down. Don't be a moron, put more on it. I bet over Spurs-Knicks 223.5, available right now. Also pending Sam Darnold comeback player of the year 25-1. I think this is live, baby. I think it's live. I think he has a really good chance to pull this off.
Does he meet the parameters?
I think it's other circumstances, and I think that's going to be something that voters, and reading the tea leaves here, multiple voters are leaning that way, if not already like anchored down that he's going to be the guy, and they're just going to say that he was awful, and he couldn't play. And if they gave it to Flacco last year and Geno Smith the year before, they kind of got to give it to Darnold. So I know. We'll see. He's on a 4-1 in one book in town. And I think I have one more on the board here. Oh, yeah. It's a player prop for tomorrow. Pat Freiermuth over 28.5 receiving yards. And I've laid 20 cents with that as well. There you go. Those are my plays.
Okay, I have one play. It's a bowl game on Saturday. Colorado taking on BYU. I think they're going in this with the right attitude. They're going to play the starters. They took out insurance policies. They're on their private jet. I think and I think it's a good recruiting game for them. I think BYU faded a little bit down the stretch. We're in a little over their heads. In a Big 12 where at the end of the year, they definitely weren't one of the top teams. I think Arizona State was peaking, and probably Colorado was peaking too. They only lost that one game at Kansas late in the year. But I laid the 4 with Colorado in this spot. Somebody to go back and look at the record. The night before Thanksgiving, I had the Blackhawks plus 205 against the Stars that won 6-3. So
I got there?
That'd be included. Yeah, they won like 6-3 that night. Stars mailed it in. Mailed in.
This was when?
Remember, I filled in for you the 3 days before Thanksgiving
that's
when
right.
you were on vacation.
Oh,
I had a bunch of plays. I'm
since,
just saying it for the record.
Since you have famously called, rightfully so, I think, Jake Ottinger the fake ace.
It doomed you for your bet that night.
Oh, I had the under.
Toronto.
No,
What did he give up 4 on the first 9 shots? And they pulled him after the second period.
It's 3 in the first 6, I know.
Yeah. 4 of the first 9.
All right. Well, good luck. There you go. All right. This is a special moment here every year on the show when Mike is in.
Before I give mine, I'd like to ask you, because mine is not going to go 7 minutes, but I'd like to ask you about how Christmas is different for you and for Lorraine since Sebastian came along.
Oh, yeah. It's all about him. I can't wait for tonight. Because here's the way we did it when I was younger, right? My parents would allow me to open up one gift on Christmas Eve, and then I always look forward to Christmas Day, and we opened everything up. I think we're going to stick with that tradition. So he's 8 months. He just turned that on Sunday. He doesn't know what this is at this point, obviously, but I still think it's going to be fun for him to like have the ability, and he's grabbing everything in sight now. So for him to, open up gifts and just, I don't know, see what a toy might look like is going to be really, really cool. And beyond this, like the younger years as first-time parents will just be, I don't know what to say, because this was all brand new to me, obviously, as somebody who just turned 48 years old, becoming a parent for the first time. I thought it was going to be tough, but I didn't think I was going to be able to even enjoy it this much, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, these years will still be great up to, and it's different for different people, but 10, 11, 12, until they realize there really isn't Santa. But I mean, Christmas Eve was my favorite day of the year because my grandmother they started decorating, my step-grandfather, my dad's mom, Ronnie's mom, Eleanor. They started decorating October 1st. And they had a huge outdoor display in every inch of the indoor. They wrote an article about her in the Telegraph Herald. The title was "Some Even Believe Santa Lives in Bedecked House." And cars would come and they'd have lines, all throughout November and December to look at their house. Jeez. So we would go there, and then we would go to midnight mass at St. Comkills. We would open up our gifts from my dad's side of the family on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Then Santa's gifts and Mom and Dad on Christmas Day, and then we went to my mom's side of the family on Christmas Day afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you this, because he's awesome around people. He thrives in big groups. He's always got a smile on his face. It's incredible. But we took him to the Bellagio Conservatory on Sunday. He was overwhelmed. First of all, I've never seen it that packed in my entire life. It was bonkers, and it was a little bit too much for him. So we'll dial it back a little bit, obviously, tonight and tomorrow.
All right, so through the years, it's been my honor to be able to do this and deliver a holiday message. And it sort of started maybe 6 years ago on this very show, whether it was on Christmas Eve or the last show before Christmas that we were able to do, and whether I was filling in for you or filling in for Paul or just a guest on the show. We've talked about a Charlie Brown Christmas, that Christmas isn't just for Christians, Christmas being a beautiful mess, and last year's attitude of gratitude. So this year, as I was thinking about the theme and the importance of the message that I will deliver, one concept came to mind, and it was driven a little bit by Christmas music of our American society, and the concept was of home. We've had many songs about being home for Christmas, and not just the old standards, but in recent years, including this year, Dan and Shay gave us Take Me Home for Christmas. Matthew West 2 years ago, Come Home for Christmas. The Eagles with the great rendition of Please Come Home for Christmas, and Don Henley in 1978. A year before that, Kenny Loggins gave us Celebrate Me Home. The great Italian barber Pierre Como in 1954 released No Place Like Home for the Holidays. And the standard I'll Be Home for Christmas, which was a wartime tune from Bing Crosby in 1943. So home and being home for Christmas in our homes has been a major theme. But for us and my family this year, it's been very different. I know many of you have heard through this show or through talking to me at the casinos in the last 5 months that we suffered a debilitating flood to our house on August 17th. And through a lot of circumstances and difficulty with the insurance, we are still not back in our home.
Ugh.
We spent a week bouncing around using comps that I had from various hotels, another 2 weeks at a Hampton Inn. And then since September 7th, we've been at the Residence Inn, located right next to Allegiant Stadium. So for us, Christmas is very different because, you know, there's no 6-foot-tall Christmas tree in the den and 12-foot-tall Christmas tree in the front room. There's no cute family picture under the tree to send out in Christmas cards. There's no decorating the outdoors with all those lights and having cars slow down to drive past your house to appreciate your effort and your creativity. Really no place to wrap gifts or to hide gifts. As we get gifts for the kids, we sort of have to wrap them that night when they go to sleep. There's no tree in our hotel room, and there's no house for us to celebrate in. And so, you know, every time someone asks me how you're doing in the last 4 or 5 months, my answer is always sort of led with this flood and how our circumstances have been different this year for Christmas, and frankly not as good this year for Christmas because we don't have our home. But I think that's the fatal flaw for me. And when we talk about the 5 W's of journalism, who, what, when, where, and why, we tend to think of home for Christmas as about where or what. What, our home that we've built, where, our hometown. Christmas is Dubuque, Iowa. Christmas is Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Christmas is Las Vegas, Nevada. When instead I should have been focusing on the fact that home for Christmas is the who. Home is about who you spend your Christmas with. And I'll still be spending it with my wife, and I'll still be spending it with our children, and we'll still be seeing our friends and all the people we work with throughout the year, my family here at Circa, my family here at VSiN. And it's a shame on me for having spent the last few months lamenting the situation instead of appreciating these precious years that we have with the kids and how special Christmas is for them. Christmas home is about who? And when I think about we're going to spend Christmas at a Residence Inn next to Allegiant Stadium, it's probably a heck of a lot better than the 45 degrees temperatures 2,000 years ago, sleeping with a bunch of animals in a manger. So I guess my attitude overall is think about who and how you're celebrating. The days are very long when you have young children, but the years go by very quickly. Don't waste any of them lamenting your current circumstances. Instead, celebrate Christmas through your children's eyes. On behalf of Derek Stevens and his family, the Musburger family, and all of us here at Circa, the D, the Golden Gate, and VSiN, I wish all of you a very sacred, blessed, and safe Christmas holiday.
All right, buddy. That was the best one yet.
Thank you.
Well done. I feel like that should be wrapped in a bow
Ethan will clip it, and then so I can send it out to
and send it out with a
Very
ribbon
nice.
around it.
Yes.
Ah, incredible job. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that this year.
Yeah, everybody goes through a little trauma in their life. If that's the worst, then you've lived a good life.
Yeah. VSiN Primetime, Humans on Tobel next. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas.